Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening, everyone. You are once again welcome here on the platform for raising awareness. One of the international news, everything is spoiled for Ukraine. I don't know even more what is the real qualifier that I can use so that I can express myself better express what arrives in Ukraine. Ukraine stripped, bereft, ruined, as if all this was not enough after the proposals and barter for property intellectual Ukrainian made by the United States of America. Here now the tour of a company American. It is not known whether this company is in intelligence with the President Donald Trump, but whose CEO, who is a controversial figure, it has just been transported to Ukraine with the aim of going to buy the Ukrainian production company's drone. Yes, the business of war. Yes, because currently there has mesh, there is Fondama, there is Kalis, there is Wi-Fi, there is money in the business deal in Ukraine, in the business affair drone in Ukraine. They want to buy back all of them, if possible, the companies that produce the drones in Ukraine, or at least the most of them. Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, the very idea of wanting to buy back the Ukrainian companies that produce drones, it's already the idea of wanting strip Ukraine of what little remains Ukraine. And this is also the idea according to which the continuity of the conflict suits more of a title. These Americans who never stopped not to get rich since the beginning of the Russo-Iranian conflict. It must be said that America emerged victorious in that. The economy they had to do in this war affair in Ukraine is a lot. They make gifts, donations of billions to Ukraine, but it comes in kind from weapons entirely produced in the United States of America. So America pays with its own companies as if all this was not enough. Here is another one. American company that decides to go and buy the small ones companies, the companies that remain in Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, within the framework of this video conference is about this news that we are going to talk about. But before we continue, I ask you humbly to share the video conference at maximum. Share it in all possible groups and I attract attention. There is a TikTok account called The News Column which reposts my videos in full at the minute. All right, you are informed, you will see the rest. So to all of you, don't take never my video conferences on to which I have absolute copyright without my consent. Thank you very much. Let's go deep. He is a controversial figure, American PMCs. His name is Eric Prince. AC just got an appetite for Ukrainian drones. Eric Prince, he is the founder of Blackwater. Blackwater, it is a private military company, SMP, infamous in Iraq and Afghanistan. You have heard of Blackwater. According to Guardian, which is an American daily newspaper, EC Prince seeks to buy Ukrainian drone companies. It wants to buy them because Ukraine does not have more means to produce as such. The Ukrainian state continues to ask his family for money allies to enable to operate businesses for increased drone production since drones are used much more in this new type of conflict. I don't know how we're going to say it, but modern conflict. Yes. While Russia produces thousands of millions, we won't say thousands, while Russia produces millions of Shahd drones that Iran has had to give the patent to Russia, meanwhile Ukraine is struggling with its own companies to produce drones. But that's what Eric Prince saw. He has the means. The American state can, to be able to put the means at his disposal, because he is the boss, is the governor of a well-known American company that very often acts on behalf of the account, in the name and on behalf of America. And so it is he who transports himself, wants to buy drone companies manufacturing drones, but he will buy and then he will work on place because the business is there, bringing money. So assuming that this Mr. Eric Prince is in agreement with Donald Trump, that means that the decisions which will come from the administration American regarding the cessation definitive conclusion of the conflict in Ukraine or the continuity will take into account the interest Americans in Ukraine. Understand it? Yes. Decisions will take into account whether only if the Ukrainians agree to sell him the factories, the drone production company. This means that the conflict will continue extend. As long as America makes a benefit in this, the conflict will be extend. Here is unfortunately what so-called war business. During the war, some seek to enrich themselves. And so Eric Prince's objective is establish itself in a strategic sector, become central to modern warfare. So behind the businessman, it is American logic, transform the war into industrial opportunity. This is American logic. We must transform war in industrial opportunity. That's the slogan. And that slogan is, what does it boil down to? We're going to get a lot of it full pockets while the war is still there. Is it like that? Once again, we can quickly find yourself on the stairs of peace. It's impossible. So drones constitute a strategic asset for Kiev. You know, Ukrainian drones have become formidable tools on the battlefield, whatever one may say. But Ukrainian drones are powerful their way. We have seen what some Ukrainian drones have made on points in Russia, and we see what continues to do. It must also be said that it is thanks to these drones that Ukraine is in holding on even a little. So for Kiev, these companies are today strategic assets nationals. Drone production companies are strategic assets for the Ukrainian nation. And so sell these companies to foreign actors pose a dilemma. Ukraine needs investment, but on the other hand, there is a risk loss of technological sovereignty, because when you sell, you have sold your technological sovereignty. And that is why Ukraine finds itself in a dilemma. No, we learned that there is a growing role for corporations, American private military in Ukraine, and negotiations at the highest level. The media, the daily newspaper we call the Daily Telegraph, revealed that Donald Trump negotiated with the Europeans the possible dispatch of military companies, private American companies in Ukraine. There, if he sends the military companies, private American companies in Ukraine, we are not going, not to say that it is NATO or it is this or that. He is in the process of negotiate. What is the objective? It is obviously to provide guarantees of security in Ukraine on the sidelines of the army's official. So these private companies will act like auxiliaries, those who burn the border between mercenary work and contractual defense. So, and the arrival of companies, private military like Blackwater in Ukraine, will internationalize further the more the conflict. That is to say, it will give a dimension, international contribution to this conflict. So this raises questions. What liability in the event of a blunder, under which jurisdiction? There are many there of legal questions that arise, but the most important thing was to demonstrate what America had as intention towards Ukraine. And so, ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, that was the front page of international news. Please share it as much as possible. I come back later with news. It was the voice of your unique samurai.